Favorites, the podcast presented by Bet365. We are part of the Action Network. I am Chad Millman, Chief Content Officer of the Action Network. Today is our Week 10 Thursday NFL episode. This is the episode where we get feedback from the wise guys who listen to the show, where we make our survivor pick and build our money line underdog round robin, where we give out our foxhole bet and our big balls bet of the week, and where we narrow down our picks for the free-to-play Favorites Podcast $100,000 Pro Football Pick'em contest. Because as our old pal Colin Cowherd likes to say, there's a sea of money out there. If you want to follow along with our official bets, you can check them out on the contest website, favorites.actionnetwork.com, when we lock them in before kickoff on Sunday. And if you prefer using the award-winning Action app, you can also track all the bets Simon and I lock in by following two accounts, the Faves 5 and the Favorites Podcast. Now, let's bring in my co-host, my companion, my compadre, my BFF professional bettor, Simon Hunter. Hello, Simon. Simon. As you know, Matt Mitchell and I right now, for those watching on YouTube, you might see my very fancy backdrop. Thank you, Michael, in the Copenhagen office for giving us access to the Copenhagen studio. Matt Mitchell and I are both here, Simon, for a week of meetings with our colleagues and our Danish overlords in Copenhagen, Better Collective. We went to a Champions League match last night, Simon. We saw FC Copenhagen play Manchester United. I've never been to a European football match. I know you're a big fan of the European football. The only way to describe this game is that the whole game was drunk. There were 2 penalty kicks, a red card, 7 goals, 2 by FC Copenhagen in the final minutes of the second half to win. 2 people in the stands needed medical attention from the medics that are on the team. The game had to be stopped so they could walk across the field with stretchers, and a protester ran onto the field. I know how much you love this sport. I think Matt Mitchell and I can agree. See Copenhagen win. Unbelievable. See Copenhagen win. Unbelievable. Are they all like this? Are all the European football matches this high scoring and crazy?
Yeah, Champions League is definitely something that, you know, as much as American sports want to brag and say we're the best and it's all this and that, what is cooler than having your hometown, your favorite team from your country playing another team's club? It's just the coolest thing ever, Champions League. If you're not into it, it'd be like my Philadelphia Eagles playing the best team from Germany or England or Mexico or Canada if they all had football teams. So yeah, Chad saw my favorite club, Man United, lose. Pretty embarrassing. I always say the 2 scariest words in the world: United away. Rashford, he's a player for England, got a Man United got a red card.
Yeah.
Totally flipped that game. The game Chad saw, Man United lost 4-3. And yeah, I would say you saw probably one of the best Champions League games you can see in person. They're usually not that high scoring. So yeah, you saw a pretty special game, Chad.
It was insane. We also decided, a group of us, that the NFL would be more interesting if we could relegate teams. So fairly certain the Bears are being relegated to the Big Ten. As a reminder, the Favorites Podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays. And they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Guess what, folks? Guess what? Me and Simon are going to be doing a live show. That's right. You can come watch the show live, mingle with me and Simon. Matt Mitchell will be there. Our gang is going to be there for a live show Sunday, December 3rd. The Favorites is going live from New Jersey. That's right. the Shepherd and the Knucklehead on Willow Avenue in beautiful Hoboken, New Jersey, will open the doors at 3:45 for the 4 p.m. NFL games. We'll be hanging out with all of our listeners, having a blast, and then recording our Sunday recap show live and in person at 7:30 right before Sunday Night Football. Prizes, drinks, warm embraces for me and Simon, and so much more. Please look for, I believe we have a landing page where you can go RSVP. So the landing page is in the episode description of the podcast. So go check that out. Go sign up at the landing page. Go to the episode description. Shepherd and the Knucklehead, December 3rd, free event. Come watch us live. December 3rd, 7:30 in Hoboken, New Jersey. Description page has the RSVP. All right. Week 10 is approaching. Opportunities all over the board. I feel like we came to a consensus. Let's not dilly-dally, Simon. It's time for Sharp Calls.
Are you allowed to say let's not dilly-dally after you dilly-dally for about 20 minutes?
Guy, I wasn't dilly-dallying. That was important information. Like, we're going to be doing a live show. When is the last time you and I did a live show? I don't think we ever have. And this is a good opportunity. Our podcast is bigger than ever. We are the #1 sports betting podcast in the country. Apple rankings prove it every single week. I'm not even lying about it. Maybe people want to come hang out for an afternoon, watch the football with us, bet with us in the state of New Jersey where it's legal on Bet365, and then watch the show. That's not dilly-dally, my friend. That's opportunity.
Yeah, I'm just talking about everything before that. We dilly-dally a lot here, so I just love that you're in that mode where usually we don't dilly-dally on Thursdays, but this Thursday we did dilly-dally. You talked about Copenhagen, Man United.
Well, here's the problem. Honest to God, Simon, I've slept like 2 hours because I was
welcome to my life.
And I think I've had 8 espressos in the last 25 minutes.
Fired up. Yeah, I'm excited for the live show. Have a couple of drinks with the fans, and shout out to the 3 or 4 real loyal fans we had that drove up. We had a guy drive from Cincinnati to see us in Kentucky, Chad. We did our
oh my God,
live
that's
show
right.
there.
That's right.
So
right.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what fans turn out, and yeah, you want a beer with me and Chad, we'll get a beer with you, and hopefully it's a fun time watching us win some money together at the 4 p.m. games. Yeah, Sharp Calls. A lot of shit talking from the boys this week. They hate a couple of our picks, which that comes with the territory, especially when we're going on some chalk favorites. I kind of knew it was coming, but luckily the Lions have moved with us. So, as much heat they're trying to give me about taking the Lions, feeling like a genius. He took him a -1. I mean, that line's up to 3 now at a lot of books. So not a shocker. The pros are going to like this Chargers team. It's all about what number. And that's my argument, is that I want to be on the Chargers, but the number wasn't there. And still at 3, I still lean towards Detroit. Like, this should be 3.5. It's going to get there, it looks like. Like, it looks like it's finally going to get to 3.5. So, yeah, I had a bunch of people hating on our Detroit pick and how chalky it is. And it's just, I have a model. It gives me a number. If it's under that number, I'm with the public on that side. It all depends on the circumstance as well. So, yeah, that line's number, luckily it's gone up, so I don't feel like more of an idiot. Because I was worried when I was just sitting there at 2.5. I'm like, oh God, maybe I did totally misread this one. But luckily, the pro money has showed up. It's up to 3 now. Not shocking. A game I loved that. I mean, even now I'm shocked. I loved it so much. Cincy versus the Texans. I really love Cincy. The pros really like the Texans. We'll be butting heads on that one. I really like Washington. I think you were kind of on the Seattle side, which is understandable. It's a weird line. The pros love Washington. Like, I can't tell you how many guys I've talked to that love Washington. They love them in this matchup against Seattle. I think a lot of pros view Seattle's defense as fraudulent, that they've gone up against, bad competition that has made their defense look way better than they really are. hard to argue with it, right? They've played a couple of good offenses. Those offenses put up more than 30 points against this defense. That's just factual with the Seattle Seahawks team. So, a game we weren't too crazy about, but it seems like they're taking a position on it. Another game I was shocked by. A couple of pros I talked to really like the Vikings. I like the Saints. It's up to 3 now in a lot of books. So another number that, like, you know, I get where they're coming from. If they want to take the Vikings 3 or 3.5, but at 2.5, how would you not like the Saints? I feel like that was another time we liked a good number. And a lot of agreements in the Jets, Chad, but I think a lot of guys are viewing this as this number is going to flip. Like a lot of people, I think we talked about that they think it's going to move from Raiders being the dog to the favorite. So another game that I think we talked about, we didn't really give a pick, and I'm kind of happy we didn't, right? I was like, I like the Jets, don't really want to take it. I think the number is going to move. I mean, it has. It's a lot of books have it down to 1, or some books have flipped it. So yeah, for games that they didn't like that we picked. I know a couple really smart pros that like the Packers. Doesn't shock me. Say what you want about Pittsburgh. I think everyone's seen that national media lines about they haven't won a game yet this year when they've led by an offensive yardage. Yes, that's a problem, but that's the Tomlin magic. Me and Chad, we did. I mean, my whole life's melting together. I think we did Green Dot Daily Tuesday with Nick, and Nick, who does our luck rankings, posted the luckiest teams of like the last like 5 seasons. And I want to say last year was the Giants, and the year before that was Pittsburgh. So
Steelers were 3 of the past 5 years.
That's what it was. So
Pittsburgh, and by the way, this is the biggest luck rankings matchup of the week in favor of Green Bay.
So, what they're tracking, what goes in the luck rankings, apparently Tomlin's really good at it. And that is getting the most out of inferior players. And that's what those luck rankings really stand out to me, is that this guy, the Giants luck rankings of last year, I really do think it shows about how incredible this coaching is, where it's like these teams these coaches are taking just not talented teams, and they're getting lucky. They're getting the bounces going their way, but there's more to it with this Pittsburgh team. So I was really positive I was gonna make this one of our 5 no matter what, even if it was if it had gone up to 3.5, I was gonna try to fight you on it. Maybe I need to pull off a little bit because there's so many trends pointing towards Green Bay. But man, this would be tough to pass on our contest at 2.5. So yeah, it's a week of another game I was hoping to hear more about, Chad, was this Cleveland game.
Yeah.
Not a lot, brother. Like not a lot of guys are with you on the taking the stand with Cleveland. And I think it's the fear of Lamar and this moxie of they seem like a team that just gets up for it this year, right? Like the only real game we could point to, the game they've really disappointed, just one game the entire year. Oh, I guess they a little bit against Pittsburgh, but what's that Colts game, right? Against Minshew. They dominated Minshew, that Colts game. They lost on a last-minute field goal against the Colts. For the most part, the Ravens have been unflappable, but I'm starting to come around here on the Cleveland pick, where it's like, isn't this why we should take Cleveland? Then more pushback is like, just take the money line. Like that's what you do, right? You take Cleveland's money line, but for our contest, doesn't help us. It's like, well, would you take the 6.5? So I've been asking a lot of people, and a lot of people are just like, I'd rather do something else. So it is tough.
You know what? They were against us on Dallas. They
True.
were against us on Philly. When you know, you know.
Not all of them, but yeah, the Philly one was more split. But yeah, definitely tough. And we didn't even talk about the Thursday game. A lot of the guys love the Panthers. I feel like we got really lucky. I feel lucky. I don't know about you, but I bet the Panthers thinking this number was too high because they'd made it for Fields. It comes out yesterday Fields isn't going to play now, or he's doubtful. This line's only moved half a point. I have no idea. You know what? I'm so glad we can't put the Thursdays in our contest.
It doesn't matter. We're not even going to talk about it because it's Thursday, and by the time most people listen to this, that game will be over.
I hate you. Then why are we doing Thursday shows at 5 a.m, chat, so people can listen before the Thursday night game? Damn you.
Listen, as a reminder, you can catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube. So for those enjoying on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. We need to start narrowing down our games, which is why I'm cutting you off on the Bears and Panthers. We've got to get to our Foxhole. We've got to get to our Survivor pick. We got to get to our Big Balls Bet of the Week, which comes with a very special translation because we are in Copenhagen. All right. The games we talked about the most this week, Simon. I'm glad that I'm glad you talked about the Bengals. I'm flipping around Matt and Tito in the order in the script because I want to talk about the Bengals because Simon was so passionate about it, and it ties up with a stat that Evan has.
Yeah.
Because in my notes, when I was going over sort of the past week and getting ready for today, I was struck by how passionate you were about the Bengals at 6.5. And we knew the line had already moved, off of the 7, which meant somebody felt really strongly about the Texans to move it off of a key number. So you were so passionate about the Bengals. And then I immediately bought in. I immediately bet it when I was in Connecticut. Evan has a stat this year. Public sides. Normally you want to bet against the public, right?
Yeah.
This year, the public 72, 54, and 5. I don't know what that ATS percentage is, Evan, if you can calculate that. But that's good. And that's better than what it's been in the past, which is historically a losing bet. This is the second best. This is the best since 2016. So I'm with you on the Bengals. You know what? You're my guy. As you once beautifully said, you're my guy and I support you. But I'm also with you.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I was so passionate about the Bengals on Tuesday. I must have hyped myself up just talking about this game. I don't know what happened. I can't believe I made a 6.5 point favorite my Simon Says Play of the Week, but I stand by it. I still think this number was going to go to 7. You're right though. It's still at 7. It moved to 7 to a couple books from the 6.5, but for the most part, there's still a bunch of 6.5s. Yeah, the fear definitely for me was coming in here. After the conversation I had with some pros that liked Houston, I was like, if I wake up Thursday morning, this is 5.5. I got to make a big apology to all the fans. So, thank God it didn't drop a whole point down to 5.5. I don't look like a total idiot. But yeah, I just believe the splits are true. CJ's different on the road. Me and Chad did a film sesh 2 weeks ago about this Cincinnati defense. I think they're, as much as I love what Joe Burrow is doing, right? He is the difference maker. Obviously, we see it with that team. Like when he moves in the pocket and he can set that offense up, it's the difference. But the defense has just been slept on for Cincinnati for like 3-4 years now. And they're the reason, not just Joe, that they keep getting so far into the playoffs, winning their division. If this was Tomlin, right, or some other head coach with this good of a defense, we'd be going crazy, right? Being like, this is a rookie on the road coming into this team's home stadium. I just think this should be 7.5, and the hype is the reason we're getting a nice bump on this number dropping down to what it is. So, Chad's right. Like normally, I don't bet favorites really. Like I'm a big dog better. This year we've adjusted on the fly, just because I noticed week 1 we went 2-3, and then the week after that we might have gone 3-2, and it was just like the guy in lead was 10-0, was all picking favorites. And I think I talked to Chad about this. It was like we need to make an adjustment until it comes back the other way. So yeah, this year, I mean, I think we're 63% for the season, this contest. I've just been making tons of money betting favorites and these unders. Like it's just been an incredible year if you're betting favorites and unders. And we talk all the time. Football, it's like riding a wave, and every wave after one another is going to be different, right? And that's what this season's been like. Every week it's a little different, but a little bit more of the same, right? Like we keep seeing these chalky favorites. I talked to Chad. One of my favorite memories, especially when I live back east, is this would have been a fun week for me to go to the sports book Sunday morning because it would have been packed, right? The Eagles had covered, the Chiefs had
Yeah.
covered, these big time favorites, all these people betting them, all their big bets that came through. The books will be packed this Sunday with all the chalk bettors getting their money, rebetting it, everything like that. And I joke with Chad, I love these weeks. I go, it's packed. you know, the most bet teams of the week go 0-7 that week, and then I show up the next Sunday, and it's literally me and three other guys in the sports book, and that's just how it is. So yeah, the books are getting them fat before the holiday season. Me and Chad are fading them a little bit, right? We are on the Jags, and we talked a couple of games where we're fading
Yeah.
them,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's not like us to not be on like the Chargers again, another good example this week of like me and Chad normally would blindly bet that, but this year has been a little different. And I feel lucky where, last year I probably would have been like, you know what? Chargers plus 2.5 minus or +1 at home. I'm going to like them against Detroit. And we just know how the way the public's been betting and that number has moved. So, yeah, again, it's tough this week, Chad. I'm not going to lie. Like I'm trying not to be scared off these favorites. I'm just trying to trust the numbers, and so far so good, right? The Detroit number, I feel like I'm not a total idiot, even though I get a lot of shit talk from people, but I got a lot of heat for liking Detroit. I mean, liking Detroit, and again, feels good waking up today and seeing this up to 3 because if this was down to 1, it's embarrassing. Like it would be embarrassing on the show for me giving out a chalk favorite and the number totally moves against us. So this week, don't be shocked if me and Chad end up on 2 or 3 favorites.
So it's funny. Look, that's the beauty of betting, right? Is you get to evolve. You get to look at what's
Always.
happening on the field. You're constantly learning. When people talk about poker, I know a lot of guys who play professional poker, and one of the biggest stories I ever did for ESPN was about Phil Ivey, and I went on this 72-hour round the world gambling tour with Phil Ivey on his private jet, and we went from Connecticut to Montreal to Amsterdam to Austria as he was gambling and ultimately playing poker in Austria. And I love listening to poker players and sports bettors generally earnestly and thoughtfully and authentically think about how much they learn about themselves and about markets and about decision making when talking about this kind of thing. And I think betting the favorites is one of the things that you have to think about. You can't be so rigid. That's why I like that we sort of have been playing these games. The public, by the way, 57% against the spread this year. So Cincy to me, we're going to talk about this at the end of the show, Simon. I went through and sort of did our preliminary list of 5, and Cincy to me was still on it. So if we can get the 6.5, I'm with you, brother. I'm totally with you.
And we got a line change during the show here, a
Oh,
live movement.
oh,
The pros are back in the Ravens again, Chad. Cleveland up to 6.5 now in the Action app at every book. So
oh my God. All right.
yeah,
That's so strange. All right. Can we bounce again? Do Matt Mitchell and Tito care if I go to I'm going to go to the Ravens and the Browns then? Because like, look, we just talked about your Simon Says, which was a weird game for us. I'm
yeah.
shocked. Like, I was wondering, this was my exact decision.
The pros like the Ravens, man.
I don't know why this wasn't, but in a lot of what I'm seeing, it's a pros Joe's game. And like I'm seeing money on the Browns and tickets on the Ravens. So I've been surprised the money hasn't moved back down. So obviously there's some metrics that our ingestion isn't picking up. And because somebody likes the Ravens and now it's gone up, and I might have to. I've already bet it at 5. I bet it at 6. I'm gonna have to bet it again at 6.5 if it's
Jeez.
still there when I get back from Copenhagen. Um, it doesn't make any sense to me. Home teams in the division since 2015, 47% against the spread. Home favorites in the division since 2015, 45% against the spread. There's a huge amount of inflation on the Ravens because everyone thinks they're Super Bowl bound. They think they're the best, second best team in the AFC, maybe better than the Chiefs. Like, they just beat up a team by 34 points. You know what happens when you win a game by 34 points? The spread is inflated and you fade them. This doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it's not supposed to though. It's like you know, these pros, they lock on these teams and they've been paying them out. Like these guys, they've been backing, the wise guys have been backing the Ravens a lot this year. I even know some that took them against Arizona, right? And they were on the right side that whole game until that last second field goal by Arizona. And they view this team as, there's always teams like this that they peak at certain points of the season, right? Like this is their peak of the season for the Ravens. They're beating up on really good teams. And the same exact thing happened last week, Chad. We saw the Seahawks opened, I believe, a 5.5. We talked about it the Sunday night. We came in the Tuesday. It was 5.5, 6. We talked about it. Came in Thursday. It was 6, 6.5. And come Sunday, that's what it closed at, 6.5 for that Seattle team. And I talked about it. I didn't even take the 6.5. I just took the money line in Seattle because I had the same view of they'll either win this game or they're going to get crushed. It's starting to feel the same here with Cleveland, where it's like if Watson shows up and he can play well, Cleveland wins this game, right? But if Watson of new shows up and he can't stop turning the ball over and making terrible reads, the Ravens defense will eat him up. Like this is not a defense that can be played around with. So yeah, I feel very fortunate. Because I wanted to with Chad too. Like Sunday night, it was hard for me not to take the 5.5. Feeling lucky that I've sat out on this Cleveland line just because it's not like it's one or two book that moved it. It's every book has moved to 6.5. That means a really smart group hit some book and every other book got word. Like, again, all these books talk to each other and they moved off that hit. So, like Chad said, it looks like in the app that a lot of the money right now is coming on Cleveland, but we talk all the time. It could be $5 million from a bunch of really sharp, smart professionals. But if the right group comes in that moves markets and they put 50K on the Browns, the whole market will move off the bet. Like I know people don't understand that stuff, but there are some just really highly respected people in this world that I live in, and that they do move numbers like this. And I'm with Chad. I cannot believe this is up to 6.5. That is crazy to me. So would love to give out the Browns here, but I feel like we can keep waiting. Maybe this will go up to 7 by game time, just because it's a big deal with people that it's already up to 6.5 here on Thursday. So yeah, I know it's one of your favorite games, Chad, but it's gonna be tough for me to get this one in on Sunday.
You know, when the show started, I was so confident of what our 5 picks were going to be. Like it was obvious to me. San Francisco visiting Jacksonville, talked about it on Sunday when it was a 2.5.
Yeah.
Talked about it on Tuesday at 3. It's settled at 3. Deebo Samuel is playing. Trent Williams did not practice on Wednesday.
Big.
Yeah. Again, the metrics in the app are telling us this is a pros Joe's game. Tickets on the Niners, money on the Jags. I actually still feel really confident about this one.
Same. Yeah. Nothing's changed here for me.
Well, we got one.
Yeah. This, as always, there's always going to be some pushback, but I think Chad just mentioned a big deal to me here. Trent Williams, if he does not play, this is a huge deal for a Jags team that, they don't have the best pass rushers, but against a 49ers team without their best tackle, that they can look a lot better, right? I mean, Josh Allen, that could be a big game for him now without Trent Williams in there. So, not gonna lie, the fact that Deebo was back, I thought for sure Trent would be back, and that would scare me, right? Purdy's got all his weapons. Like we've seen it. If Purdy has time and his weapons, the guy is a playoff winning quarterback. Like, throw out the 7th round Mr. Relevant stuff. We've seen when Purdy plays well. Another guy me and Chad broke down in film. He's a really good quarterback. Like when it's all there and it's working, Purdy's incredible. So the fact that Trent Williams might still miss this game, I didn't even know that. That's a huge deal to me. So yeah,
I don't know that he will. I just know that he didn't practice on Wednesday. I mean, that's usually a day.
Yeah, it's a big day.
Yeah.
especially after a bye week, that he's still not practicing. So, like Chad said, though, he is a veteran, so they could just be he doesn't need to practice. I mean, of all the players on their team that doesn't need to practice, he's one of them. Yeah, obviously today's injury report, we see what he's doing. If it's a DNP again, man, that's got to make you feel great. So, yeah, not shocking to see the public on the 49ers, but I am shocked to see that they're, just after a bye week, they completely forget what this team's done against, these past 3 weeks. The fact they lost 3 in a row. Maybe that's the reason they like them so much. But yeah, me and Chad getting a home dog here with Doug Peterson. This Jaguars team that we view as a top 3, top 4 team right now in the AFC. How do we avoid this one? Like me and Chad, especially if this is, 3.5 in contest, guarantee it's going to be an even 2.5 though. I really, really feel confident still putting the Jags in. So definitely a game we can't avoid this week.
So you brought up Minnesota and New Orleans, and I'll be honest, this convo was now 48 hours ago and multiple time zones ago. When I was making my notes this morning, I had no recollection of why we liked New Orleans. All my notes are about how lucky this team was to beat the Bears. And this is one of those games where New Orleans went from dog to fave, which is a losing proposition. Here's one more for you. Teams to see the line move 3 points or more away from them, 18, 27, and 2 against the spread. Matt Mitchell, you got to go on mute. 18, 27, and 2 against the spread. 57, 87, and 3 since the start of last season. It's just, and like, they're just a bad team. Like, I don't know why we'd want to back them. Derek Carr and Dennis Allen are terrible as favorites.
No, I hate it. I hate everything about it. That's why we got to do it, though. That's what I think we talked about on Tuesday, where it's like, who doesn't want to bet Minnesota? It's a fun story. This guy Dobbs. I told you it's all fun and good, Chad, but Evan gave us that amazing stat. This guy is 1-9 straight up in his last 10 starts, Dobbs. Like, he is. There's a reason this man's been on 4 teams now, and whatever it is, the last calendar year. The guy's a gamer. Like, I'm not trying to shit on him, but what can I do? I have to do it, Chad. This guy just had the win of his life. Like, they just had this crazy emotional win. Now they're coming home and playing against the Saints team that, Chad, you just said it, right? They got lucky. They didn't play that great of a game.
Terrible. I
feel the other way. I feel like they got crazy unlucky. They had a missed field goal. They had all these times down your guys' red zone where they didn't come away with points. And the big thing for me, though, this Saints team is the offense has found something here with the Taysom Hill. The problem with me and the Saints was the Chris Raybon stat about Derek Carr in the red zone. He is the worst red zone quarterback starter we've ever seen make like a minimum of 100 starts. He is horrible. And I didn't know those splits were that bad. Chris told us whatever that was in August, and I went and looked, and it's factual. Like, Derek Carr is one of the worst red zone quarterbacks ever. You know who's one of the best scoring red zone quarterbacks ever, Chad? Taysom Hill. Like, it's crazy, but
right, and so that's going to change.
Yes, and shout out to my guy Baldy Breakdowns. He's basically an old school O lineman who breaks down.
Yeah, I know Brian Baldinger. People should know who Brian Baldinger is.
Yeah, this is for the fans, not the esteemed in media for 30 years, Chad Millman.
I mean, all fans should know it.
But yeah, basically he's showing film. They're running plays. The Saints are running plays with Taysom Hill quarterback from 1932. Like, I'm not joking. Like, they put it on side-by-side film footage of them running this quarterback run where the quarterback basically is back there with the fullback next to him. They break out running to the left, and it's literally this play that's from the 1930s, and it's working, right? They're picking up 8-9 yards a chunk against a lot of these defenses because they run what everyone runs in the league now, which is the 2 linebacker look, right? They're going with 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and the rest are DBs. That's a huge advantage for New Orleans Saints and Taysom Hill, right? If he can do that in those games, they found something there. And I think this past week he had a rushing touchdown and he had a receiving touchdown in the red zone. That's a big deal to the Saints team, especially against a Vikings defense that's horrible. Like, this is a defense that gives up a lot of yards and a lot of points. And I know that, people might still think back to that Vikings against the 49ers game and how well they played and everything like that. But yeah, it's not throwing me off the stank of this Vikings defense. So I'm with you, Chad. If this in our contest is 3.5, I wouldn't do it. But my view is, if this is 2.5 in the contest, I don't know how I don't get it in there. It's just, it's scary. All the Derek Carrs, Dennis Allen, they're horrible as favorites. Both of them. They're horrible as favorites this year. They've been horrible as favorites. I forget what week it was. Me and Chad had the Saints versus Green Bay, and we had the +1.5 on the Saints. And Chad just talked about it. By game time, the line had flipped, and the Saints were -2.5. The game lands on 1. And yeah, I know Derek Carr got hurt in the game or anything like that, but Chad talks all the time about how lucky sometimes we get when we do. Not lucky, but how important the best number is. And I push it back against it sometimes, but right there, he nailed it. Like, we got lucky. It landed on the 1.5 we'd taken earlier in the week. That's the only fear here with me, is what Chad's talking about. Like, the numbers moved a lot. That's not good historically, especially when you have a guy like Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. Like, that's just bad. So I'm not going to make it our Bigs ball is better of the week, even though it feels like it's taking the most balls, because I hate those stats. Like Chad said, I had confidence in this game until he started hitting me with these stats from Evan. God damn. But I got to do it. Dobbs, this should be 3.5. Like, the Vikings team is just, there's not, this line feels inflated because they had this incredible last second win. I mean, if they would have lost that game, Chad, it came down to 1 or 2 plays. If they would have lost that game, what is this number? Is it 3.5? Is it 4? So it just feels like I have to take the Saints value, not to overthink this one. And again, if this is 2.5, I'm gonna get my hands on Chad's. I'm gonna say we got to get this in, and we'll see what he does with it.
We haven't done big balls. We haven't done Foxhole. There's a couple more games that we got to discuss.
Okay.
I do kind of feel like we should make the Browns big balls, because clearly it's taking big balls.
No, Chad, don't do
Why?
it. I mean, we can do it, but you got to wear it. I don't know what to do with that one.
When am I afraid to wear it? When have I ever been afraid to take on the mantle of responsibility? My whole life is responsibility.
It's just, I mean, you took it at 5.5. It's up to 6.5. Like, I know I told you, if you really believe in yourself and you believe in the number, go against it. But I don't know, man. It's November now, Chad.
What happened to "you're my guy, I support you"? What happened to that guy?
I'm supporting you. I didn't back the Ravens. I'm not telling people to take the Ravens. I'm trying to protect our fans here, though.
I'll tell you what. All right, let's
tough.
finish it. We're going to put a pin in this one because we do have to choose one, but we'll finish it and see if there's something else that we can agree on. Simon, let me ask you this. Can you name the fastest growing ticketing app in the United States?
Game Time.
That's right. It's our sponsor, Game Time. I love Game Time for 2 reasons. 1, they sponsor this show. Number 2, I actually use Game Time to buy tickets. They've got amazing last-minute deals on all sorts of tickets, including pro and college football games. Speaking of which, I'm actually going to open Game Time right now from my house. Well, the truth is, I'm doing it from our studio here in Copenhagen. All right, the truth is, I'm not even opening it right now because we can't access Game Time in Copenhagen. But I cheated, and before we came on the air, I checked. You can get into a Chicago Bears football game tonight for less than $85. That's right. I checked my favorite city in the world to watch my favorite team. It'll break somebody's heart. No matter where you live, download the Game Time app, get out and have some fun this week. Go sweat your bets live and in person, and you can redeem code favorites for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just download the app and enter code favorites for $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. For the record, I took the Packers Steelers game off our list because I think we're both a little spooked by not just the sharp action coming in on the Packers, but the luck rankings, which is just, it's a bad Tomlin spot. It's Kenny Pickett. It's the Packers getting all the sharp action. It's the luck rankings loving the Packers in this spot. I took that
First
one
half under.
first half under. Actually, Raybon last week on the Action Network podcast, talked about the Packers and Rams under 19.5. And on today's episode, his favorite total, Steelers and Packers under 19.5. Simon just said it too. You probably didn't hear the show, but you guys are
Yeah.
simpatico. So yeah, just do that. I'm taking the Lions out because I think that number is probably going to be at 3.5. So we probably won't want to do that because it will have moved too much. What
Yeah.
about Tennessee and the Bucks? It's +1. It's not a great number,
Yeah.
but it's a Vrabel spot. The Bucks passing defense is terrible. We've seen enough from Levis against a good defense and a bad defense to think that he's serviceable at least. But we're running out of options here. I got a couple more in my sleeve.
I can get you there. If we need 5, if you don't feel confident 5, I got 5. I do believe him. But yeah, if Tennessee's one of your games, man, we can get it in there. I just got no read on it. Like
I don't want it to be one of my games, but we did talk about it last week, and we've eliminated some other games that we were feeling good about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie though, I still feel good about Pittsburgh, but I get where you're coming from. But yeah, this one, you know.
Here's my thing. If Pittsburgh's a 2.5 in the contest, I'm with you. I feel like they're gonna make it 3.5.
Yeah. No, honestly, the part I hate about it is just how much money's come in, all the tickets, all the bets are on Pittsburgh, and like you said, I saw it pop to 3.5 Monday morning, and then some real sharp money came in and hit it down to 3, and now it's just been holding there at 3 all week. Never ideal if you're betting a favorite. But yeah, this Tennessee game feels like the New England game, right? New England are playing the Colts in Germany. It feels like I should be back in New England, and this feels the same here with Tennessee, where it's like we have a coaching advantage in Tennessee, right? He is much better than Todd Bowles, and we're catching Tennessee here after a loss and now extended rest, which I think Evan gave us a stat earlier in the year about Vrabel with extended rest. I believe it was favorable towards Vrabel. Will Levis, as much as I want to give the kid a hard time because how lucky he got in his first start, that game against Pittsburgh, he made some throws that, we've never seen Zach. I guess that's not fair to Zach Wilson. I hate beating up on him, but it's just the classic, when you know, right? When you see a kid out there, you kind of know what they're going to be, right? I have no idea if Will Levis is going to be a good quarterback, but I know he's given himself at least 3 years now. Like, where Tennessee will give him 3 years now because of these last 2 starts. The fact they're already sitting Tannehill, that's a big deal. Like, the fact that he's healthy and they've already said no, like, we're riding with Will the rest of the season. That's a big deal. Like, the kid's clearly shown something of Vrabel in that front office. So I guess I'll get there with you, Chad. It's just I just hate the number. It's like if this was 2.5 automatic play, contest, it would be 1.5, which again, we like Vrabel as a dog. It's just not crazy great value.
Contest might be a half, to be honest. So again,
yeah, it's true.
Again, there's games here we're gonna look, and after the show, we're gonna look at them. Washington at Seattle -6. I know what you're hearing from the wise guys. We know Ron Rivera is really good against the spread as an underdog. Sam Howell, second in the NFL in passing yards this year, has more touchdown passes than Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, or Jared Goff. I know what the wise guys are saying. This is a Seattle spot. You back the team that just got demolished. Teams to lose by 20 points or more the previous week facing a team that didn't. 60% against the spread in north of 100 and almost 140 games since 2020. This is not a small sample. This is not a good Washington team. Don't forget, it's a team that beat the Patriots, had a nice little dead cat bounce after losing Chase Young and Montez Sweat. You come back down to earth when you're traveling across the country, playing a team that is better than you, that just got demolished. I don't want to overthink this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fight you on it. I had no real opinion on it. I just thought the number was fishy, and that I kind of liked Washington. And I didn't get why this wasn't 7. There are some 7s popping up at a couple books, which makes me feel a little better if Chad likes Seattle this much, but I don't know what to do with it. Like I think Seattle's defense are kind of fraudulent, man. And it's a big number. Like you have to dominate a team to cover this number, right? This is a big number. And especially if it's 7. Like that's crazy. There's some 7s out there popping. So yeah, I'm looking in the app right now. All the tickets, all the money, it's all Seattle. I think everyone's in agreement with you that Washington got they got their big road win. They don't need back-to-back ones, right? They're not going to be the hungriest team in the world, but um, I view them as they got lucky. Like Sam Howell did not play well last week against the Patriots, and that was kind of a Mac Jones gave him that win, right? He made these big mistakes. He kept screwing up on crucial downs that kept Washington in that game. So I want to get there with you, Chad, on Seattle. It's just tough for me right now. I
When you
don't know,
say to
man.
me, when you say to me you want to get there, I feel like you're there, and there's a little bit of wise guy community in the back of your head, and I feel like we're going to get there when we're staring at the numbers and we know what's in front of us. We're going to get there. You know where else we're going to get there? Denver Broncos plus 7.5 against the Buffalo Bills.
What do you want to do with this one? You love this one that much?
I don't understand why you don't.
Because it feels too easy. This number does not make sense. This number should be 6. No,
Why hasn't this line moved? It's another one.
it's
We're like,
moving. It's moving. I literally just texted a runner. I said, are you still seeing 7s out there? And he just texted me back, yes. So a couple books have obviously moved this to 7. I don't
okay.
know if it says in the app yet, but yeah, it's number does not make sense. The Bills are so banged up defensively. Josh Allen is having to be what he is, which is a top 3 quarterback just to keep them in these games. I know people don't think it. They're like, well, Josh Allen's been bad this year. If you go look at it, I think they're 4th in DVOA in a weighted offensive adjustment. Like this team has played really well offensively, despite the turnovers from Josh Allen. And some crazy stat, like because he runs the ball, he accounts for like 75% of their total offense this season, which he this is exactly what they didn't want. This is exactly what he didn't want himself. It's just you can't last the full season. Like I just don't know how he's going to last playing this way. And Chad talked about it. Denver's defense has been much better than people perceive these last couple of weeks. And maybe, maybe we put too much into Mahomes having the flu, right? Like I kind of dismissed a little bit, which I should know, of this Denver defense and how well they played against the Chiefs. That was probably a little too harsh, but yeah, I don't get this number. It stinks. Why are they giving us 7.5? I say all the time, the books are not our friends, but maybe they're just misjudging this number. And Chad's right, and like we have to take the value here. But are we really going to wait until another Monday for our picks? I hated that this week with what was it, the Jets we had on the Monday night. That was just too much. So yeah, it's all fun and good saying we'll take it here, but I don't know if I can do it again. Wait until the Monday night with it. It's
Come
too much.
Monday. Come Monday. You know what we're going to be singing? Just another manic Monday. Wish it was Sunday. All right. Well, we'll talk about that one. Uh,
You really like that Denver one though.
I do. I
Okay.
do. But I also love the Browns. So
You love these road dogs, but you don't like Washington. Interesting.
well, I think there's such a difference. Washington's not a very good team. I like a road dog that has
That's true.
that has the most dominant, not just defensive player, one of the most dominant players in the division with a great defense
We
against
got more
teams.
line changing. The Bears are now back up almost at every book, the 3.5.
There you
So
go. There you go.
the pros like the Bears
All right, we need a big balls, my friend, and so
and Foxhole.
and a foxhole. To me, like we have so many options because
We didn't talk about a game I'm shocked you didn't talk about.
Which one?
The goddamn Jets.
Oh, right. No, I skipped over it. You're right. Thanks for reminding me.
What do you want to make that, big balls or foxhole? It's both.
It is both. It's disgusting. I want to make the Browns big balls.
God damn you. Fine. You'll get your way.
Oh, no, wait, I can't. I made it the exact decision. You're off the
Thank
hook.
God.
Then let's make the Jets big balls. Big balls, bet of the week.
And I'm
Play it, Matt
seeing.
Mitchell. Go
Sorry.
ahead. No,
I'm seeing Jets are now +1 at our sponsored book, Bet365. So told the people I was going to do it. I'm obviously not ecstatic right now. They have another offensive lineman who might miss this game, and that is nightmare fuel for Max Crosby and thinking about what he can do this offensive line. But, oh, man, how do we not back this Jets defense against the Raiders offense, right? Aiden O'Connell, we've seen these quarterbacks struggle against this Jets defense, and you assume more of the same, right? And what do you keep saying? The dead cat bounce?
Dead cat bounce? The Raiders had a dead cat bounce.
So that was last week, right? The Raiders had that high of highs. And just like the Vikings, I'm kind of expecting a big letdown. And, we could get caught here, right? The Raiders could still have some incredible momentum that's still carrying them. And the Jets could be completely defeated after that game. And it's a short week. They're traveling. And I get a lot of the pushback we've gotten from the fans of the show this past week about the Jets team, but how do you not love them, people? Like, this is a team that, they were the unluckiest team in football this past week. We gave that stat. No team had ever lost by 20 when they held a team's offense under 200 yards. And, this is just, it's hard for me, honestly. Like, I don't want to be taking this either with this Jets team, but I got to stick true to what I believe in, and that this is an overreaction, too much line movement towards the Raiders. The Jets should be favored in this game. So the fact that now it's popping to +1. If you want to wait, I understand it, because I could totally see this keep going up, especially with the injury news we just got about the Jets. But I don't know, Chad. If this is 1.5 in contest, how does this not end up as one of our 5? This is just such crazy movement for this game. And, Evan gave us that stat. These teams that go from being the dog to the favorites, it's historically not good for them. So it'll be nice for us for the one time to be on the side of these dogs. So, yeah, I like the Jets here.
Speaking of which, we still need a foxhole. I think Denver should be the foxhole. There's one other game that can be the foxhole, but which is New Orleans. That is a real foxhole.
Let's see. It is still -2.5 at Bet365. The Saints.
Yeah, we're gonna lose that game because it's Dennis Allen, it's Derek Carr, it's all the trends against us. We can make it the foxhole.
We're going to have to pick one. You're either going to have the Saints in or the Jets in. I know you hate it, but one of these is going to be one of our 5.
Oh, my God. I'd so much rather put the Jets in.
All right.
Better coach with a great defense against a really bad team.
No Taysom Hill, though.
No Taysom Hill. We don't have a 1932 offense. Well,
it's a tough week. You picked a bad week to go to Copenhagen, Chad. I need you here in the States.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just joking. It's the same people giving me shit for being in Hawaii. That was my favorite thing in week 1. People were like, you and Chad don't care anymore. You're living up big in Hawaii. It's like, guys, all I do in my free time is play poker and Risk. There's nothing exciting going on here in Hawaii. Like, you don't want to know what I'm doing during the season. So,
all right, listen.
How about this? Jaguars. Foxhole.
Foxhole. Great. Done. Jags is the foxhole.
We both love that one.
Yeah. Jags is the foxhole. Jets is big balls. Okay. Let's see.
We got there.
Simon and I typically enter our initial picks into the contest website on Thursdays after the show. So if you want to see the unofficial picks, We've entered in the contest before they lock. You can just go to the website for the contest, favorites.actionnetwork.com, search for the faves line. That's us. We typically have these picks in by Thursday night. Before we get to the money line underdog round robin, the week 10 contest tiebreaker, total passing yards on Monday Night Football. Billy Ward, our Action Network predictive analyst, writes a weekly article about tiebreaker strategy, and a link to that article can be found in this episode description. If you want a leg up in the contest, good luck. Here's what I think should be our money line underdog round robin. Are you ready?
Yeah. We want to do Survivor or after?
After.
Okay.
Jags,
Love it.
Jets,
Love it.
Browns,
Love it.
Packers.
Eh.
All right, who?
How about Minnesota instead of the Packers?
All right. And then I was going to say the Broncos.
Whoo. That would be fucking crazy. Yeah, I'll go with you on that. That's fun. Denver.
I could, dude. I know, like, I'm so sad for Matt Mitchell because he'll be tired, but it's going to be.
I can't see it, but I'll back it, and I'll bet it because it's fun.
Let's make Little Caesars, which is the official pizza sponsor of the NFL, part of your game day. Simon, we're in mid-November. This Thanksgiving, should everyone start replacing turkey with Little Caesars pizza?
Yes.
Order online during our pizza pregame 1 hour before NFL games and get ready for some football and fun. Choose your favorite Little Caesars pizza or pick the toppings you crave. My friend Simon, what do you think about this new motto I just invented? It's on the fly. If pizza fills your heart with lust, be sure to order Crazy Crust. However you order your pizza, you win. And speaking of winning, everyone scores with convenient delivery or our in-store pizza portal pickup. So grab some friends and enjoy a few slices during the game. As a reminder, catch every episode of The Favorites live on YouTube, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to the Action Network YouTube page. Last week, we did the Browns and the Saints for Survivor. Have we done Seattle?
I have done Seattle. Yeah, we've had a great run. This week, lines up perfectly for us. We still got Dallas. Like, I didn't use Dallas against the Cardinals. Yeah. A lot of people got knocked out that did. If you've been following us every week and you're still with me, I'm feeling good this year. Like, usually I don't feel great about these Survivor pools. If you've been following this season, we've used the Giants, we've used Washington, we used the Browns, we used the Chargers, we used Seattle, and we used the Bills. It feels so good knowing I don't have to use those teams again, especially the Bills. Like, yeah. It's great to know we already got that done with. So, easy week, layup pick, Dallas. Man, if you got to make a tough choice, I mean, Chad's not crazy saying Seattle. Like not Houston. They're not as desperate, Washington, in that game, right? Seattle's going to be the more desperate team at home. They need that win. Don't hate Chad using that as a throw-in, because it is a tough week. If you don't have Dallas, your only real options are Cincy against the Rook or Seattle, and that's tough. I looked at Cincy thinking about using them just because they are in the best division of football right now, and this would be technically a really nice spot to take Cincy, but. If you've been following this show for 3-4 years, every year me and Chad lose on Dallas, and we always lose in these exact scenarios. How is this possible? I'm trying to figure out a way Tommy DeVito ruins this for me, and I just can't find it. Dallas coming off a loss at home against this kid. You got to do it, people. What are you saving Dallas for? You have to use them this week if you still got them.
Or Seattle by 1 million. Hey, Simon, what are your biggest bets this week?
I mean, I'm embarrassed to say it, but one of them right now is the Lions. Like, I heavily invested in that at 1.5, 2.5. Heavily invested in Cincy. Shit, man. What is wrong with me this week? I have a decent amount on the Jaguars, a +3. That's more normal. Have a way too much money I care to admit on New Orleans -2.5.
Oh, boy.
And Pittsburgh was going to be one of those, but Again, our guy Nick, when he gave me those luck rankings, I'm with Chad. It's not the end all be all for me, but it does make me stop and pause because it is profitable, and we've seen the data that it wins long term, the luck ranking. So I wanted to fade Green Bay so bad after that win, and Jordan Love on the road. It's all sitting there, but I'm gonna be try to be smart, not go overboard, and go crazy on this Pittsburgh one. So yeah, that's no longer one of my bigger bets of the week.
As a reminder, the Favorites podcast is presented by Bet365. Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why you get more boosts with them than with anyone else. Every day, they power up the odds on hundreds of bets to give you a chance to win more. Bet365 boosts specific markets, your winnings, and even parlays, and they don't stop there. Keep an eye out for their biggest and best odds with the incredible Super Boost. Check out the boosts and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 or older and present in Colorado, Iowa, New Jersey, Ohio, or Virginia, or 18 and older in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. Terms, conditions, restrictions apply. Before we get out of here, the last word from Evan Abrams, our director of research, the engine behind the stats and nuggets you hear on the show across our network. Take it away, Evan.
What's up, guys? So I just got to apologize before I go into this because, we have a lot of stats that we go through, me and our producer, Matt Mitchell, trying to figure out what to go with here. And I'm not going to change it. I've heard everything that's happened in this show. So you guys are just going to have to hear the stat. So this is just another beautiful Dennis Allen spot. And I'm sorry, but the Saints may not have covered, but they did win last week, which would mean that Dennis Allen coach teams are 3-14-2 against the spread coming off a straight off win in their last game. That would make him 138th of 142 coaches against the spread in the last 20 years. He's actually also 0-5-1 against the spread in that spot this year as a favorite. I'm sorry.
How is this guy a head coach?
He's so bad.
Here's the thing, though. The thing that's funny about it is Minnesota just come off one like the most emotional wins you could possibly have in the regular season ever. So it's kind of works both ways there, but we'll see if maybe New Orleans by a field goal, by 1, by 2, we'll see. Hopefully they come through for you guys. Favorites. You guys talked about it earlier in the show. We haven't really got into this as much in this segment, but we will now. So 71-60-5 favorites against the spread this year through 9 weeks. That is actually the best year for favorites since 2013. Haven't really been an underlying storyline this year with favorites. The average line for a favorite this year, minus 4.8 points. So that would be the lowest full year for favorites in the wildcard era. So we've never seen the line this low for favorites at only minus 4.8 points. And that's since 1980.
Wow.
So just a very different NFL. And then I'll leave you with this one. This is actually a really, really crazy stat. When I get blown away by something, I like to pass it along. So Jacksonville and San Francisco, Buffalo and Denver. Both games this week where both teams are on extended rest. When both teams are on extended rest, which is 8 days or more, the under is 99, 47-1. So that's 68% since 2018. That includes 23-5 this season. So that is Jacksonville and San Francisco, Buffalo and Denver, looking for where both teams are on extended rest. Crazy run.
I'm just glad you didn't say teams on extended rest. The underdog is 27% against the spread since Taysom Hill started running the football in 1932.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. To recap. Jacksonville +3 is the foxhole. The big balls bet of the week is the New York Jets +1. Exec decision, Cleveland +6. Simon says Cincinnati -6.5. The round robin, Jacksonville, New York Jets, Cleveland, Minnesota, Denver. We had to lock in 5 right now. I wrote this down before the show. It felt like it was so easy. I wrote Jacksonville Browns, Bengals, Seattle, Denver. But it feels like we're not going to find consensus on all of these.
That was your dream 5?
It was before the show. It was my big 5.
God damn.
I think we can agree we want to keep Jacksonville in there. I want to keep the Bengals in there if it's at 6.5. I would be
Okay.
comfortable keeping the Broncos in there and waiting for Monday night to determine our fate. You feel strongly about the Jets and the Saints. I feel really strongly about the Browns. So which do you feel more strongly about, the Jets or the Saints?
I mean, you asked me this after Evan just ripped my heart out with the Saints pick.
Because it's terrible. But I'm with you
I don't
because you're my
know.
guy. Because you're my guy.
The professional in me wants to say you take the Jets here, but no, I'm fucked, man. I like the Saints way too much. It's a problem.
All right.
Give me the Saints if it's 2.5 in the contest.
The Saints are like the Giants for us, where we couldn't resist the Giants last year, and they hurt us every single time. All right. Then I think our 5 is going to be, we'll look at the numbers. Jacksonville Browns, Bengals, Saints, and Broncos. But we'll see.
Feels like it.
Yep. All right. Remember, Simon and I will be back with our Week 10 recap episode live on the Action Network YouTube page this Sunday, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't forget, sign up, RSVP to our live event, December 3rd, in Hoboken, New Jersey. Description contains the RSVP link. Doors will open at 4 p.m. Simon and I will go live with the show at 7:30. You're going to hang out with us. You're going to watch the games. We're going to bet on Bet365, the Shepherd and the Knucklehead on Willow Avenue in Hoboken, New Jersey. December 3rd, please go RSVP, free event. We're not asking you to pay for anything. Download us from Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your pods. Rate, review, subscribe, leave us 5 stars, say whatever you want. Feedback is a gift. Till Sunday night at 7:30 Eastern. Love you.